is a candle in every soul, some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings a fire, ignites a candle, and makes his home. So carry your candle into the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn, and hold out your candle for all to see. Take your candle and go light your world. Take your candle and go light your world. Frustrated brother, see how he's trying to light his own candle some other way. See now your sister, she's been robbed and lied to, still holds a candle without a flame. So carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the lonely, the tired and worn. Hold out your candle for all to see. Take your candle, go light your world. Take your candle.
I will bring about great impact. I will change the world for good. I said no to violence. I said no to rape. No to drug abuse. No to cultism. No to destruction.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second session.
Welcome back.
Time. It's been back-to-back yesterday, learning, sharing, and really learning deep lessons. We just talked about instructions and skills for the reform boy. And it was such a mind-blowing session, sitting and listening to my wife. I'm wowed. All right. I have Mr. Jerome here. Jerome is someone I really admire. I'm really inspired by your passion, by your tenacity, by your burden for the boy child. Jerome is the founder of the Word of the Boy Child. And Mr. Jerome, let me just tell you that Nigerians are waiting for you. We need you in Nigeria.
Yes, we need you here.
Next year we need you in Nigeria. So we are telling you ahead of time before the boys, because we want to welcome the International Boys Conference next year. Imagine we're having over 1,500 boys gathering tomorrow in the physical attendance for the grand finale. And, you know, I can just imagine the excitement seeing Jerome with us next year as we be gathering over 2,000 boys. Please begin to dream and plan with us as we see. I'm sure you have something to say to Jerome.
Yes, Jerome, thank you so much for always coming through. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And like he said, we are looking forward in Nigeria to have you with us. We want to share your burden. We want to know why, what happened, what pushed you to bring to birth this very beautiful vision, blessing everyone all over the world. So we are all waiting to listen to you, and next year, hopefully, to see you, to touch you physically, and to hear from you. Thank you for coming once again, Jerome.
So, boys, Mr. Jerome is here. I'm sure you're excited to see this man, the founder Word of the Boy Child. Let's go to the chat room and let's give him some love. Let's tell him how much we love him for choosing to make sure boys are celebrated. All right, that's Mr. Jerome. All right, I'm sure we love him. Let's tell him we love him. As we do that, please let's roll out his profile. And after that, he'll be speaking immediately. Thank you.
Jerome Siloxy is a history lecturer from the University of the West Indies in Trinidad and Tobago. He initiated inaugural observance of World Day of the Boy Child on 16th of May in 2018. and have been promoting World Day of the Boy Child among non-governmental organizations, governments, schools, and the individuals across the globe. He saw the lack of role models in the home and school, and also realized the need to promote a positive environment for the proper growth and development of the boy child. One of his recent books is titled Achieving Peace, Equality, and a Healthy Environment. Jerome Siloxy speaking.
Hello, we're happy to have you, sir. Please, you have the floor. You can go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. I cannot believe a whole year passed since I was here. It passed so quickly. I want to say hello to all the boys out there. Hello to both of you all, and to everyone listening. I am very honored to be here today, and I'm also honored that you all have attended this important conference. I started this day because I saw the need for us to help many boys who are marginalized, many boys on the fringes of society, many boys in poverty, many boys who are illiterate, many boys who are too poor to go to school, many boys from homes in which they were physically abused, many boys in orphanages where they were physically and sexually abused. So I saw this day where we could try to give hope to boys who might be contemplating suicide, boys who might be depressed, and these are some of the reasons. And also I'm hoping that the good boys will become role models for their peers, the other boys. And
That was so. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was really beautiful, and it's good to hear that. Okay, so Mr. Jerome will be speaking to us briefly on making global impact as boys, and so I'm going to give him the floor now to speak to us on what he would like us to know about that this year. And also this year talks about boys and their mental health as celebrated World Day of the Boy Child. So you have the floor now to share your thoughts with us and what you want us to know on the topic, and what you need to speak to us on this year. Please, you have the floor now. You can go on with your talk.
right. Many boys around the world, they suffer from mental health problems. And it's unfortunate that when we hear about mental health issues, we think about adults. When we hear about depression, when we hear about someone considering suicide, when we hear about emotional abuse, psychological abuse, we think about adults. But I have realized that many boys suffer from these mental health problems, and many of them are undiagnosed. I have tried to get statistics for Africa, for India, for Europe. These statistics are not there. So I don't know how depression is affecting boys between 12 to 18 years or boys between 10 and 16 years. So we don't have these statistics, and if they do exist, they are not updated. I am hoping that the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and other regional and international bodies would focus more on the mental health issues affecting our boys. Many schools, not just in Africa, but throughout the world, do not have counselors. They have no counselors in the schools, so many boys who are facing peer pressure and bullying have nowhere to turn. Sometimes they would go home and tell their parents are not equipped, they are not trained to help their sons, face this bullying and peer pressure. Many teachers are not trained. So I am hoping that governments across the world will be able to provide more counselors in schools, or provide training for the teachers so the teachers can also act as counselors. I've also noticed that when boys are diagnosed with mental health problems, Many people, often prescribe medication. They want to prescribe tablets. And I've been telling people that, sometimes boys do not need all this medication. Sometimes they just need freedom to express themselves. Sometimes they need an outlet for this frustration. And this outlet could be sport, teaching them football or cricket or rugby or hockey, tennis, so that we need to give our boys options when we diagnose them with mental health problems. We need to also spend more time chatting and talking with our sons, with our brothers, with our cousins, our male cousins, to find out how we can help them. Too often we live in a world in which there's so much technology. We have social media. And this could be one of the reasons why boys might be interacting less with their peers. Boys might be interacting less with adults because there's all this social media. They go home, they're on the computer, they're watching television, they're watching a movie. So I think one of the ways and one of the solutions is that we need to go back to the traditional ways of interacting more, speaking more to our sons. Do not let the social media develop and socialize our sons. Our sons need to get that little pep talk from a father, from an uncle, a grandfather. We need to inspire them. We need to empower them. Many of these boys, they have to write an essay. They have to tell a story about their father. They have to tell a story about their family. And they find it difficult to write about their family or their father or a father figure, simply because they don't know that person enough. Now, many homes do not have a father. The father could have died. He could be in jail, incarcerated. He could be working 2 or 3 jobs. So many boys need that male role model. And this male role model is very important. This support group for the boys is very important, especially when boys have mental health problems. Boys might be experiencing a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. They might have a lot of anxiety. All these are mental health issues that could lead to something more serious. And boys need a support network where they could feel trusted. They could feel that they could speak to somebody. It doesn't have to be an older person, it could be somebody their own age. So as parents, as a society, we need to encourage boys to have friends, true friends, reliable friends, friends they could trust, friends they could speak about problems. I think we also have put a lot of pressure on our boys. Often when boys complain that they fell down and they hurt their leg or their arm, we expect these boys to be strong. So I think we place false expectations on our sons, on boys in society. We expect our boys to be invincible. We expect them to excel in sports. And when they do fail, and when they don't qualify for a sport or they don't come first, we are quick to criticize. We are quick to condemn. And by criticizing and by condemning, by chastising these boys for not being first, for not participating, for not making the team, not being part of that football team, not being good enough, it places mental pressure, emotional stress, psychological stress on that boy, because he feels he's a failure, because he didn't come home with the gold medal, he didn't come first in his exam in class. So I think we need to understand our boys. And one of the most important lessons I've told parents for many years is that each boy is different. Each boy is unique. And we need to love our boys for their faults, for their weaknesses. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I have weaknesses. You all have weaknesses. And we need to understand that boys also have weaknesses. They are not robots. And not all boys will come first. So I think one of the important lessons in dealing with this mental health crisis that is becoming a global pandemic now amongst boys is that we need to let boys know that they are still loved if they do not come first, if they are not the best, right? Too often we expect our boys to excel Boys have different abilities, aptitudes, mental capacities. Some boys might be good in mathematics. Other boys might be good in, they might become an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, a mason, an engineer, right? So a lot of times, we might want to push our boys. We might say, what, we want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a politician. And these boys might be happy, being a mechanic. They might like to fix cars. They might be happy to build items, and they want to be a carpenter. So I think that we also have to be very careful when boys come to tell us or to tell their parents about their career expectation. We must not show disappointment when boys say that they want to enter a career that we might not like, or we might not favor, or society might not favor, right? Often, we want our boys to be in a career in which they'll become famous, maybe they'll become wealthy, well-known, respected. Some boys will want to live a humble life, a simple life, and we need to respect that. Some boys, they might say, what, Daddy, I don't want to be a footballer. I'm not good at football. Daddy, I am good at chess. Daddy, I am good at tennis. Daddy, I am good at plumbing. I want to be a plumber. So I think that we have to remember that even as a teenager, many boys will have dreams of a career, and we shouldn't try to discourage them and make them feel inferior, that somehow their career option is bad. All these put mental health pressure on our boys, and it creates mental problems for our boys. Finally, one of the areas that I want to touch on is that during this conference, we have many boys who suffer from not mental health problems, but they are mentally challenged. Many boys might be autistic. Many boys might suffer from Down syndrome. And what I find very unfortunate is that many hospitals often do not have the facilities. Many schools do not have facilities to help boys with autism, or have facilities to help care for boys with Down syndrome. So I think that one of the areas that I'm looking at is this area in which boys have been having these mental health issues and mentally challenged, and they are not being taken care of. I want to thank you all for having me here today, and I hope that the rest of the conference is indeed enjoyable.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Please, you just give us another 4 minutes because we know you have to leave. You have to take care of somebody that is not feeling too well. We appreciate your sacrifice to get in here. All right. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. You are, raising salient points, touching areas that are, people overlook when it comes to boys. And a lot of us are asking, are we second-class citizens? Is there something wrong with us? Why is there nobody talking about us? And Mr. Jerome will have a lot of boys watching you from different parts of the world. And some of them ask, do you have program for boys? So a lot of boys feel left out. A lot of boys feel neglected. Some are even thinking global impact is not a thing for boys. All right? There are no opportunities for boys in tech, boys in, in trying to correct something that has happened in society, that is patriarchy, we are neglecting the boys. And we tell people, if the men have done anything wrong, what have our boys done? A lot of boys are asking, a lot of them are listening to you, Mr. Jerome. What will you say to these boys who are hearing, who are wondering if there's something wrong with them for being a boy? If they've committed any crime for being a boy, that society is not giving them opportunities, what can we do? What are you saying to boys listening to you? How can we begin to push and thrive? Is there a space for us as boys?
I think that the boys who feel that, they are neglected, or they are being discriminated against, or they're not given fair treatment, or that something is wrong with them, as you say, I think these boys need to look for others who would be more willing to listen to them. They need to get a sympathetic ear. They need to enter a program, and these programs could be a special counseling program. I think some of these boys need to start going to church more. They need to turn to religion. They need to turn to prayer. A lot of times, we just expect boys to get help. So I want to tell these boys that they need to pray every night. They need to pray in the morning. They need to ask God for guidance. A lot of times, we just expect the physical to help us. We expect mortals to help us. And I want them to turn to religion. I want them to turn to God and guide for guidance, for help. Adults do it. And if we train our boys to do that, to get God to help them, God will help them on that path. They cannot just rely on us here on earth.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jerome. We appreciate your staying with us through it. We really want to say thank you on behalf of the boys. Thank you so much for raising that point on turning to religion. Truly, our boys listening to us, this is a training we can't take out of your growth into manhood. You can't grow outside of God. So you need to turn to religion, turn to God. That ear is always available to hear you. And then there's something Mr. Jerome said I want to also emphasize. He spoke about a system that can help you, a system that can support you. We cannot keep saying that these people have failed, and because they have failed, there's no future for you as a boy. You must turn to, you still have the responsibility to turn to and look for that future. So we really want to say thank you, Mr. Jerome. Thank you so much. We are still saying we look forward to seeing you next year.
So, Mr. Jerome, what's our day with United Nations? Has it been approved? Are we looking forward to getting that approval soon? Some boys said the government, in Nigeria, the government celebrated the World Day of the Girl Child, International Day of the Girl Child, had programs, but we've not seen those programs
Several
for boys.
put together.
For setting up by the government. Are they still waiting for approval by the UN? Should the boys be expecting a congratulations soon for making our day official? What the boys want to know the update on that?
I have been speaking to governments, and the governments, through their United Nations representative, many governments have a UN representative that meets in September in New York every year. And I have been writing to governments, I've been sending them emails to tell them that they need to put this on their agenda. They need to urgently put it on their agenda. So I'm hoping that it could be done, and that we'll be able to, we'll be able to examine this quickly and have it for our boys to celebrate. It takes a while, but I've written the United Nations, and they say that it has to come through a country.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, let's send our love to Mr. Jerome. Every boy, thank you for speaking, for being our voice. He said every year, keep writing, keep following up to ensure that we have a voice in the world. We love you so much.
Thank you so much,
Mr. Jerome, are we
Jerome.
seeing you next year in Nigeria?
Please say yes.
I hope so.
So guys, I'm going to see Mr. Jerome next year right here in Nigeria. I can't wait to receive you.
We can't wait to have you.
Can't wait to have you. Our love to your family, your brother, and everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jerome. We love you.
Fighting for speaking for us.
Thank you. God bless you.
Bye for now. Interesting.
Wow.
And just imagine that somebody will just sit down and is speaking, is standing, just to make sure the voice of the boys are heard.
So encouraging.
And people think this day is official.
Actually,
it's not yet official. They're still pushing for the UN to even approve it. I don't know why is it taking that time, so much time.
Because there's something special
about boys. But boys, I hope you are praying, and we are believing that by this time next year, our date would have been made formal by the United Nations, so that government will not say it's not official.
Yes, so they can put things in place to celebrate the boy child. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. You've always been there.
We
have great people in the chat room already. I can see Mr. David Folara and me.
Yay.
Just to let you know that I put Mr. David into the session just a few hours ago. I told him, please come in now. Come in and talk to your boy.
Let's hear your voice now.
Let's hear your voice now. I can see Mr. TJ.
Hey, unusual TJ.
Mr. Ocholi will be joining us soon. Media, can we have them live on screen? I'm going to just ask them. So it's a time to chat as boys. We're going to be chatting. We're going to be asking them critical questions about what they're doing and the work they are doing with boys. All right, Mr. David. See, he's your friend.
Yay! Thank you so much, Mr. David, for joining us.
Oh
wow. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, I feel like the boys are so blessed.
I'm telling you.
I see what so many of these adults are doing just for you. I see the sacrifices that are being paid for you. And you know, it's just amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. David, for allowing me.
Thank you.
He's doing so much.
Thank you.
So much with young people. So much for humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure most of you will see his, let me just, tell us a bit about him. Yeah. Most of us are going to see him tomorrow at the grand finale.
Yeah.
But you know, Mr. David is someone we love and respect so much.
Yeah.
And the founder of David Folarami Foundation. And he's doing a lot of work helping boys into drugs. What amazing work. Please let us have Mr. TJ on screen. Amazing work helping boys into drugs. I've been thrilled by his passion. If I sometimes when you think you are busy or you are working, when I see open the media and see Mr. David
always on the move.
Always on the move. Once you see I'm unstoppable, I say, where's Mr. David going to again? All right, he's going to somewhere again. So he's an economist and a public servant with interest in mental health. Wow. And he's doing a lot of work with boys. He has
Coach, I think you've gone off. I can't hear you anymore.
Are we? All right, we're back now. All right, the project director of Life Free Initiative, it's an arm of David Folarami Foundation that seeks to prevent substance use among youth in the society. Doing amazing work, has received so many awards. Thank you, and we appreciate your wife for releasing you. Yes, he's married to a woman, and they have two beautiful daughters. Amazing. Also have Mr. TJ here.
Yay, the unusual TJ.
The unusual TJ. The foremost teens coach in the world.
I think you should start with this. Start his introduction by saying, Coach TJ is the energetic coach. If you are ready for energy, then you need Coach TJ.
Doing amazing work with teenagers for over 24 years.
Wow.
So I started working with teenagers before they gave birth to all the boys listening to us. Amazing work. The family wellness coach, and he's doing a brand strategy. Great work. You hear more about him tomorrow. And he has been working with teenagers. Coach TJ has 5 children. Five.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Interesting. So I'm going to be talking. I also have the last panelist joining us here, Mr. Ocholi Okutepa. Someone say, how did you bring these heavy men here? Once they hear the voice, they will arrive here. This is my daddy in the Lord.
This one.
He's the co-founder of Relationship and Marriage Outreach. Wow. Apostle Ocholi is doing a great work with families.
Yeah.
I was in his program 2 weeks ago and I was just like, the man of God is so loaded. Like the boys that went to me like, where did you meet this man? I said, you will not understand. Let's not tell them how we met. I said, you will not understand. I prepared one message for you that I will send to you from that meeting. All right, we will talk. Let's not talk about this in the public. Doing amazing work with families, going around the world, doing great things. He is also married to Julia, and they are blessed with 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be talking. We're going to be acting, interacting. So, boys that have questions, please drop your questions in the chat room. Mr. David, I'll start with you.
Yes, sir.
Drop.
Okay.
You were sharing with me when I met you today. I was like, God, what is wrong? People people think this is just a mirage. When we talk about drugs, Mr. David, is it just for boys in the rural areas or that they are not taken care of by their parents, that are just depressed? People think this drug thing is just a mirage. What has been your experience? Or is it that, as long as you're not with any bad boy, any bad person around you, you can never be into drug? Some boys still think this thing is a joke. What will you say to boys out there from what you have seen in working with boys with, in drugs, in rehabilitation? What is that counsel you give to a boy out there who has never been involved in this?
Okay, thank you very much, Coach Ebuka and Coach Ruth. It's so great to see you today. Thank you, Coach TJ. It's good to see you. I see your work, and I pray for God's blessings upon you. Coach Otoli, I met you once, I think last year. I don't know if you remember me, but we were in a group session, in a breakout session together. And then in those few minutes, some of the things you said have impacted my life very greatly. May God's anointing continue to flow on your lives in the name of Jesus. So straight to the question. There's a drug pandemic in our society. And like I was explaining to Coach Ebuka today, recently we had a 13-year-old boy who died of an overdose of drug addiction or drug abuse. 13-year-old. I was in Lagos when his mother called me, and she was practically crying about her son who was into substances. At the time, I was busy we're shooting a documentary, so I couldn't attend to her. I referred her to another addiction counselor. And then 2-3 weeks later, I was back in my home in Enugu State. My wife reminded me that I told her about a 13-year-old boy who was struggling with substances. And I put a call across to the mother, and she told me that just a day before, that's the day before I made the call, the young boy passed. So you can imagine that beautiful destiny being destroyed on the grounds of substance abuse. So substance abuse is not peculiar to any particular demographic. So we have children of the rich, children of the poor, children of the average, if there's anything like the average class in Nigeria, who struggle with substances. I was also telling Coach Ebuka, this is not something that is peculiar to just the boys. We have young girls who are also struggling with substance use. I spoke about the story of a 16-year-old who went to church with her mother on a Sunday morning. The mother was in church. Unknown to her, she had taken the spare key of the mother's car, a Toyota Corolla, that one they use for Uber, and drove it down to the bunk. Now, the bunks are these places where drugs are sold. It's an open market for sale of drugs. She took the car down there and took drugs worth over 200,000 naira and dropped her mother's car as collateral. That girl was 16 years old. I also have an example of two young boys, one 21 and the other 19, who I went to see just 2 weeks ago. Both of them struggling with crack cocaine addiction. Now, their father is a brigadier general in the army. They are well-to-do in every sense of the word, yet they are neck deep in addiction. So I've seen hundreds, literally, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of cases of substance abuse among young boys. I myself, I struggled with addiction for 7 years. I lived in the bunk for almost 3 years. In my wilderness journey, like I like to call it, I lost 4 friends who died of drug overdoses. One of them, my classmates from Covenant. So you see, if we break it down, you see that it spans across all the social strata. We have people using drugs from the rich homes, from the poor homes. We have people who are from the very low class who also struggle with addiction. So what is the common factor that makes these people struggle with addiction? One is a lack of understanding of themselves. Number 2 is a lack of understanding of their purpose. Number 3 is there's a lack of self-discipline. I've noticed in almost every single person, including myself. There's a lack of self-discipline that causes you to eventually fall prey to substance abuse and eventual addiction. So, Coach, part of what we're doing, like I said today, is to push out the prevention message, because treatment is not only too expensive. We have rehabilitation centers that cost 1.2 million naira. I was talking to a young lady last week. She was in a rehabilitation million naira. She was there for 3 months. That's 3.6 million. And then after the 3 months, she still relapsed. So 3.6 million down the drain. So what we are doing is to reduce the demand, drug demand reduction, through prevention techniques, through education, through sensitization, through enlightenment, through advocacy. We need to continue pushing out that message. It's part of what Coach is doing. And I'm glad that he has pulled me into this program to be able to speak to the boys on relevant life skills or techniques that can help them live lives free of addiction. Thank you very much, sir.
So much. Thank you so much. This is really deep. It's so sad to see what our young people are struggling with by the day. It's so sad. I really don't know how we got here.
Seriously.
I don't know how we got here. It's so sad to hear, but thank God. We are grateful that systems like Coach David Folarimi has been raised to help tackle some of these issues. And I really want to say to the boys, pay attention to these things. Don't just hear them and think, oh, they are talking too much. Pay attention to these things. Grow and cultivate these skills that will help you stay free of drug. It's better not to start. It's better not to start. Thank you so much, Mr. David Folarimi. So we want to ask Mr. Ocholi. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ocholi, the next question goes to you, sir. Thank you. It's so good to meet you. I'm glad to meet you and to meet you again tomorrow. Thank you, sir. So we visited
the pleasure is mine. Double pleasure.
Thank you, sir. We visited a school some time ago, and we realized that the whole prefect in that school were girls. There was no single boy that was in the leadership system. And that was really shocking for us. We were asking questions, just like God asked Adam, boys, where are you? We were wondering, what's going on? Why are the boys relaxing? Why are the boys giving up so easily on leadership? What is going on? I'm asking you 2 questions in one. We visited another school again and found out it was a boys' school, that the counselor in that school was a female. And we were wondering again.
All boys school.
All boys school. Being counseled by a woman. Where are the men? What is going on? We know that boys need a model to follow. So what is happening? Can a woman model manhood to a boy? What is going on? What is happening with our boys? Where are we at? What can we do to salvage the situation with our boys on leadership? Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. And let me speak like my brother did earlier. First things first, it's an amazing work you're doing. It's just phenomenal. And that's not, we're not patronizing. We're saying the truth. This is needed. And it's so important that somebody stepped up to the challenge to be doing this. And thank you guys so much. I celebrate you both. We love what you're doing, and we are so excited to identify with this. To the question you asked, is a real issue in today's world that's affecting every strata of the society, from the boys to the men. I think we have this situation now, even in marriages, where a lot of women are crying out, where's my husband? All right, so to take his place and the place he's supposed to occupy. Is forums like this and conferences like this that I see as a solution to the problem, because there's a problem. There's something that happens with a lot of men that is already trickling down to the boys. The approach to success today is not necessarily through leadership. And leadership is in different stages. All right, there's personal leadership before you talk about corporate leadership. The pursuit of success today is not through the integrity route. So when a boy sees in a school that he can be what he terms success without, having the integrity to be selected as a prefect, then he can tell you to keep your prefect thing to himself. For instance, if the boy finds his identity in being a bully, forget being a prefect. All right, being a prefect even becomes a restriction to him, because that's a system that is laced with order. That's a system that has, something that he now abhors, because he's operating in the realm of vice, not in the realm of training. So you have a lot of reasons why the boy child is not stepping up to the plate. Okay, I'm not going to speak so much about that today. We would have some of that tomorrow. Try to identify, some of these things. Why should we, see differently? How do we approach the boy child to make the boy child take responsibility? For instance, like you were giving an example, I have 2 daughters and a son. Man, there are things that in some homes traditionally they will reserve for girls. My boy will do it. You will do it, because you are creating a system that makes him understand life differently, and not that thing that has caught up with a lot of boys and men, that if they can attain that thing that they see as success, all right, they don't care the pathway to it. So that's why you have such situation. And now to the flip of the question, the other side, where you talked about an all-boys school with a female counselor, is the same thing. An average man in this generation wants to make it. So there are parts, in fact, I'm very sure some people will look at your husband like they could understand your part in this, but look at your husband like, is this what you want to do with your life? Secondary school boys, teenagers, preteen, is something wrong with this one? You get what I mean? So it takes a man who understands purpose to actually step in and do certain assignments. Now that gap exists because an average man does not see what he's doing with this class. What he wants to do is to make money. What he wants to do is to make name. What he wants to do is to, of course, like in our beloved Africa, is here you see Chief Doctor Barrister. You just roll out the titles first before the person is comfortable. All right. So I think there is need for education both to the boy child, because he's the man for the future, and to the man to know that life is beyond that utopian idea of what success is. And of course, tomorrow we will have conversations along that lines to handle the pressure to be more holistic with life than to abandon all of these fine principles that make you who you are. I would identify to them how it's going to affect their life today and the life ahead, and even the dream they hold. Because if you don't go through the proper channel, you would only have temporary success in quotes, and you come to the point where you realize I did not go through the proper route. Right? Thank you so much. God bless you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Super amazing. Like, we need men that understand wholeness. And like every boy is looking for how to get it. Like, you had, I would hear boys say, I want to be a coach. Like, coach what?
Or a teacher.
A teacher. Or a counselor.
They don't want to be teachers at all.
What they define success as is like just having a name and making a lot of money. And that is what is driving a lot of boys, to do and undo anyway in a way. And we must begin to, and what boys are listening to us, we must begin to make a change. We must begin to change the narrative. We need people in this. And if I go to that school and answer, they'll tell me to go and bring the male counselor, go and bring the one that wants to counsel. We must begin to see the need for these things, boys. And that brings me to the question for TJ. TJ, everybody wants to be a footballer and a gamer. Every average boy wants to be a footballer and a gamer. All right?
They want to be the GOATs.
They want to be the GOATs, the greatest
of all times.
And we all going to be footballers and gamers. Don't we need counselors and teachers and coaches and leaders? How can we, what do we, if I ask boys now, what do you want to be? I'm sure 90% will say, I want to be a footballer. Can we all be footballers? How do we begin to, what are your thoughts on this, TJ?
All
please?
footballers would.
All right, can I mute him now?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
am I audible? Can you hear me?
Very audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you, Shirley. Good evening, everyone. And awesome. Good evening, everyone. I celebrate you, Coach Ebuka and Coach Ruth. You're doing an amazing work. Thanks for putting this together. You have given some of us the platform to express ourselves. Thanks to my brothers. Actually, you hit home with some of the things you were saying. Permit me to just get there before I continue. Um, Interestingly, for all the boys listening to this, this may shock you, but interestingly, I'm not the breadwinner in my home. My wife is, and I'm the homemaker. And I got to
Wow.
learn, I got to understand. Yes, I'm saying this live. Everybody, I can open my eyes and go, "Hey, my wife is a breadwinner." Anyway, I own the bakery.
Amazing.
But the thought there is this. While growing up, the girl was actually given more attention to. The boy was just given position. Attention went to the girl, position went to the guy. So position was that of power. So you see guys being so masculine, but girls had the opportunity to go through process, so they became like better managers. That's why you see them. It seems like they're taking over. So this is amazing because it's now giving attention to the boys so that the boys get to learn the nitty gritty of development. So we develop as whole beings who can now protect the girl. So thank you for bringing that point. In my house, I didn't grow up knowing which work was a girl's work. Every work now work. You must work the work where they give you, And my mom ensured that at 12 I could cook. So guys, there is so much coming for you. So thanks to you for that point that you brought up. And Dave, you're doing an amazing work with the drugs. Kai, when you're just giving statistics, the one I thought I knew certain things till I started hearing you. There's so much that we're doing. So thanks to you guys. So now to the question, guys wanting to be a footballer. Let me tell you guys one simple thing. Football is a beautiful game, and I think it's one of the best games in the whole world. And then football has a way of covering everything. So name it. If you want to go into medicine, the footballer needs a doctor. Imagine if you were Ronaldo's doctor, how much will you be paid? The footballer needs to eat and needs to eat healthy. So the footballer needs a chef. So imagine you are the one providing. Ronaldo, if you follow Ronaldo, I love Ronaldo. I love all the players, but I followed his story and how they were giving him special attention in Dubai. Imagine if you're his chef. Ronaldo needs a haircut. Imagine if you're the one cutting his hair, or you're the one cutting the hair of all the bishops, in Nigeria. Bishop Oyedepo is on your seat, or one bishop is on your seat. Just imagine. What am I trying to say here is that sometimes we may get blinded by one popular thing and miss the value in every other thing. Now, if you get to see beyond the one thing that has blinded you, you see beauty in everything. One person recently stood in a kitchen and cooked for 4 days plus. That's in 100 hours. And the whole world, I watched how her Instagram handle went from below 400,000 to like 1.1 million in 2 days. Standing to cook. So the essence and beauty of who you are is seen in what you can do, and what you can do is seen in what problem you solve. And question, what problem is football solving? I know it's bringing money. But what problem is football solving? Right now, she's listening to me. Is your greatest problem right now, you're listening to me, is it to play football by 7:57 Nigerian time? Probably it could be hunger. It could be something else. What exactly? It could even be to pass your exams, But realize that whenever you solve people problem, value, you attract value in returns, and what that could just be money, So money is just one off, but I would say the lowest reward, for value that is offered. So think about it. Right now, there's a crazy guy you all know. His name is Elon Musk. He's in the field playing football. There's another crazy late guy. His name is Steve Jobs. And even as late as he is, we all want to pride with his product, iPhone. They're fantastic guys that can cross. There's Mark Zuckerberg. There's one I just stumbled into, One Popo Live and all that, creating things and making billions out of their creation and using something that It's closed source technology to make life beautiful. So rather than pursue one course, now if everybody in football, it's only 22 players plus in the team. How many boys are going to be attending tomorrow's session? About 1,005. If we pick 22 from there, that means some will end up as the boys who pick ball outside the pitch. So we end up as fans. Only 22. Do you know that one of the remaining, or 2, 3, 4 of the remaining could be the ones who are making the jerseys, could be the ones who are managing their social media, could be the ones who are doing so many other things that's outside playing football. So the simple lesson here from my response is look beyond what you see and you see so much more.
What
You see, and you see so much
more. Look beyond what you see and you see so much more. You know, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I
but
want to
TJ,
look so I can see so much more.
I see so much more. You know, that euphoria have just made so many good things. That is all life is about. All right. Oh, want to make $100,000 in 30 minutes. All right. There are people that are not even in football and they are making much more. Look beyond what you see and you see so much more. Imagine being the one billing Ronaldo. Imagine me coaching Ronaldo's sons. I will do you very well.
Ebuka, can I say something here? Now, there is one disgusting thing that is attached to all of us. Permit my use of words. It is called shit. Because everyone here, Ocholio, everybody, all of you go to the toilet and you poo. Yeah? Yes. One man started, he's laughing. One man started the shit business in Lagos. And the guy said shit business is good business. He became a millionaire, not a billionaire, just helping people pack their shits. Have you wondered why people who do soccer away, they're never out of job? Because you must go to the toilet. So it doesn't look good. Actually, why are you laughing? It's a smelling job. It's a very smelling job. But as far as we are alive, you will go to the toilet. And because you are going to the toilet, somebody is feeding his family and employing people.
You see this thing you're saying, eh? You just, sorry, let me jump in. He just reminded me of something that happened when we were in secondary school. Our proprietress, the Mrs. Ojaye of blessed memory, came to the hostel. It's like you are complaining there's not enough food. But every week we're packing soccer away. What is happening? You're not eating, but you're shitting.
Oh my God. So where is the shit coming from if you're not eating?
Wow.
Oh my God. Like I've never even seen it. And people must poo because they're not pooing is a problem. And somebody must pack the poo and make millions from it. I'm telling you, look beyond what you see and you will see so much more. For me, that is really a deep one. I think boys need to begin to see that.
Yeah.
Somebody saying that is until you are in Yahoo, there's nothing more. Until you are playing football, there's nothing more. There's so much opportunity.
So much more.
That we can begin to look at as boys, all right, and not be clouded by what we see just around. There's so much more. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you
just
so
have
much.
one more question.
One more question and then we'll be done. Thank you so much. I want to add also that our boys need to begin to see after now. We need to train our eyes to see beyond now.
Yes.
I think that's another skill, training the eyes that our boys need to have. Okay, back to you, Mr. David. Thank you. So someone is asking, saying, who or what is influencing boys into drugs? Who is it influencing them? Or what is it that is influencing them into drugs? Because at the end of the day, it's as if it's just a wasted life. So what then is influencing them? What should they look out for? What should they take note of to be sure that they are building a system of protection around themselves in order not to fall into drugs? Mr. David, please.
Is it there?
Okay, I think we lost him to the network.
Okay, let's
So,
take Mr. Ocholi's one more question for you before we get Mr. David back. Mr. Ocholi, a lot of boys, you know this thing about men are not responsible, men are bad husbands, men are, you know, some boys already even having a perverted mindset about marriage, even from now.
Yes.
Because of what the society,
You know, a lot of boys are saying they won't marry.
You know, we are into relation by marriage, and I'm sure some people keep saying the major people consider issues in marriage are men.
Yes.
And some boys are already growing with that mindset that, okay, maybe I'm a trouble in marriage. Let me cook my prepare myself to give any woman that wants to give me boost baths. So boys are already seeing what is happening, and they are getting acculturated into a certain system about marriage. And I think that is not healthy for us. Is marriage really bad? Are men really as bad as what we portray them to be? What should boys start thinking about? What perception do you think boys should start having even as we look into the future? A lot of boys have a very perverted mindset. And in fact, they see women as troublesome, wicked, or really waiting to get to their time to also deal with them. What will you tell boys with what you're seeing in marriage, you know, to correct what we are having today?
Okay. Very, very important one. I'll just use a personal story to respond to that. Meanwhile, I'm having a great time here. My brothers have really shot me arrows like I'm just, when they start speaking, I just go back to being a boy and just listen, Jeje, so that I can receive.
I hope you're not thinking about the shit business.
My brother, I am thinking it as we speak. There has to be a better way to poo and to scatter food and through toilets. There has to be a better way. Maybe let me not share my $1 million idea. It's coming. All right. So when it comes to this marriage conversation, I'll just share a story. My parents were separated. I was 8. They divorced. I was 10. I've been a stepson 3 times. I'm currently a stepson. My mom is late. My parents were divorced for 20 years when my mom passed. So I tell people I'm a product of a broken home, proper product. That's why I once taught a message from a broken home, but not in a broken marriage. See, I don't choose my past, but I determine my future. It's as simple as that. I didn't choose the family I was born into, but I will choose the family I will create. All right. Yes. So you have to come to the point where you realize that your environment does not define you. Your environment does not define you. Your environment may influence you, but you can undo the influence. So I remember when I met my wife, I told her, pop and plain, I don't have an experience when it comes to a happy home. You are my only chance, and I don't intend to blow it. So what did I do to that realization? I realized that my preparation can make me escape my experience. My preparation can make me escape my experience. So what I began to do was I began to change my software. For the boys listening to me, if you have ever handled a device, you have uninstalled apps before. I began to uninstall my own experience. I began to uninstall one by one. And why do you uninstall apps? When you realize that an app is either dangerous or not useful to you, I called my experience what it was, useless. You have no use in terms of motivation. Of course, it had a use. Like they say, nothing is ever so useless that there's no use. Let me tell you, I learned the pain of a failed marriage from my experience. It taught me a lesson never to recreate it. My wife cannot feel the emotions I felt my mother feel. I cannot let my children feel the emotions I felt. I tell people are looking for people who have been verbally abused, emotionally abused. I am a prototype of a verbally and emotionally abused person. Look no further, I'm the laboratory. Come and talk to me about my growing up. You will get the perfect picture. I've been disowned before. I know what a cracked marriage is. So I sat down and didn't let it define me, but I defined it. I know you. I know what you look like. You failed marriage. Failed home. I know what you look like. Failed relationship between parents and children. I know what you look like. First hand. I cannot repeat you. There's a point you come to that failure gingers you to success. But guess what? In fact, this is the last point I'll make on this. You can be angry about a thing and reproduce it if you don't know the pathway out of the pain. Let me repeat. You can be angry about a thing and reproduce it if you don't know the pathway out of it. So being angry with the state of things is not enough. You must ask yourself, what is the way out? And guess what? I found the way out. For this one, I'll just mention the 3 things I must note. Number 1, call a spade a spade. This is failure. Number 2, find the right materials that teach the wholesome picture. You have called out the failure. You have found the right materials in form of books, teachings, seminars like this, conferences like this that teach the right thing. Number 3, find people who demonstrate that the theory is practicable. Find human beings that show that this thing you are reading. So what did I do? I took my eyes away from my parents and put it on the people whose marriages I could see. Why? That's why I always use this portion of the Bible. Hebrews 6 verse 12. It said, don't become sluggish, but follow those who through faith and patience obtained the promise. So if I don't follow those who through faith and patience have obtained, I'll become sluggish. He said, do not be sluggish, but. So sluggishness is a product of not finding the right product to follow. So I had to find the right people and focus on them. Oh, this thing I'm reading. See the way my brother is taking care of his wife. See the way my brother is taking care of his children. See the way this one is intentional. See the way he's doing it. And I latch onto them. So there are people I don't play with. I watch them. They ginger me and tell me it's possible. All right? Thank you.
Wow, you can be angry about a thing and reproduce it if you don't know the way out of it. There's the knowing and modeling. And boys, are moved by what they see. Yeah. So and then I keep saying, my father is this, my father is that. There's somebody somewhere we can learn from. There's somebody somewhere that can model healthy masculinity to us. And I think it's important we begin to focus really in knowing that. Focus really. Thank you so much. If I was being vulnerable with us and sharing these deep thoughts, it's just so beautiful and amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. David, are you ready now?
So David, are you there? So we can take your question very quickly.
I'm just saying wow. Wow.
Oh, yes, I'm here. My network went off, so I was trying to switch the network provider. But I'm here now, even though power has gone. I'm sure they'll put out the gen very soon. But if you can hear me, you can ask the questions, please.
Yes, we will receive the power from your voice, sir. That's fine with us. Thank you so much. So we have a question asking, someone is asking that what and who influences boys into drugs? And then the second lap of the question is, what are the things our boys should look out for? What are those salient points they should know? What should they look out for to help them stay drug-free?
Okay, thank you very much. The first question says, what and whom can influence our boys into drugs? That's a very, very beautiful question. And I'd like to let you know that the influence for drug abuse can come from anywhere. Last year, I was in Canaan land to speak at the International Youth Alive Conference. And after giving my opening charge, a young girl, 17-year-old, came to me and she showed me cocaine in her hands. She said that she brought that to the youth program with the intention of distributing it to participants at that program. Now, who would have thought? If you saw her, you would have absolutely no idea that that particular girl could be in possession of such a dangerous and a harmful substance. So influence can come from anywhere. However, like I was saying to people, it always starts from the home. If there's no proper modeling from our parents, then we have a problem. I have a young man I'm mentoring now, and he's struggling with substance abuse. And in the course of my interview with him, I asked him how it started. And he told me that one day he was going through his father's phone and he saw pornography on the phone. Now, he was viewing the pornography he saw on his father's phone, And somewhere in the act, he saw the participants of that pornography movie using substances. And he liked the way that they reacted to the use of those substances. So him by himself, this is no friend, there was no friend influence, there was no peer pressure. He by himself went out of his way to go and look for where to get the substances he had seen in the pornography movie he saw on his father's phone. So the influences can come from anywhere, but usually start in the home when there's a lack of proper modeling. That's the first question. The second question is, what can our boys look out for? What can our boys look out for? Now, it's important that our boys understand that they need to create the right circle of friends, the right association. And then once you are covered under that umbrella of the right group of people, then it's difficult for you to fall prey into peer pressure that leads you into substance abuse. Now, 90% of the people I work with or I'm working on will tell me that somebody they know introduced them to substances, and you find out that that person is always somebody that is close to them. For example, the person that introduced me to cocaine is somebody who was my coursemate or my sexmate in Covenant University, and we also lived in London during our master's period together for a while. So this was somebody who I had turned into my friend, and then it was easy for him to gain access to me and influence me with these things. Now, what our boys need to look out for is creating a boundary, creating the right sort of friends they have and making sure they don't come out of that boundary. Because once you come out, you become susceptible to anything. Anybody, anywhere can influence you with these substances, and then you start struggling with it almost for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. David. Thank you so much. And I will take the last question for the unusual TJ, right? The last question. So, Coach TJ, something really sad we notice with boys or with the world or with the society. People do not agree that boys are also sexually and emotionally abused. That is something that people have refused to accept because of, I don't know why that is. So because of that, we discovered that so many boys have been abused, but are quiet on this. They are not speaking out because they don't want to be looked down upon by the society. The society has taught the boys to sweep a lot of things under the carpet so they will not say they are not man enough. What do you say to boys all over the world listening to you who may have been abused either emotionally or sexually and are going down the drain within them, but yet they are not speaking out? How do we help them? How do we bring them to the point where they receive the help they need by opening up? Coach TJ, please.
Thank you so much. And that's an amazing question. And it really goes down, because I can relate. I have lived in this world that made me shut up for so long. And I realized that I was doing more harm to myself mentally and emotionally. And I did one thing I'm going to ask everybody here to do, everybody watching me. I'm happy that David talked about association, and Chuli also talked about people who are working or who are a resemblance of the things that you want to see. So I'm going to just tie those two together and say, learn to find yourself, to take yourself. Now I use the word take yourself, find yourself, because it's intentional. Learn to find yourself in an association where you can always speak up. Coach Ebuka is my brother. I can tell him how I feel, and I know he won't judge me because he constitutes a safe space. My brothers here, Shelly and David, they constitute a safe space. They may not necessarily like what I did, that got me where I am, but they're going to help me get out of it because they are good people who are a resemblance of the things that I like or I desire or hope for. So there is no engine that works with the exhaust closed. The engine will burst. There is no system that doesn't have that has an inflow that doesn't have an outflow. As human beings, there's a lot of toxicity in our environment. The words you hear, the things you say, the experience you have, they keep on building internally in you. If you do not let out, there's going to be a nervous breakdown. There's going to be an emotional breakdown. And sometimes, it's part of the thing that leads you to use some substances because you feel that that will be your way to steam out, to get that reaction that puts you above it. However, even though it does temporarily. So you must learn to build an environment where you can easily speak out. And God has given you great coaches. God has given you this platform, Save the Boys Initiative. God has given you the David's Foundation. God has given you Ocholi's movement. God has given you Tough Nation. God has given us to you. So you have God's gifts before you. Take advantage of it and always speak out. When I was growing up, they always called me woman rapper. Why? Because I cry when I feel pain. Trust me, many of my friends who didn't cry are living in pain right now. But I cried out my pain. I let people know how I felt at that particular time. It pains me. Now, they tell you men are this, men should mature up, men should this, men. Let me just say something here. The same people who are saying men should mature up are the ones saying what man can do, women can do better. Abi? Okay, let the women mature up too. Let the women mature up. Let them not cry. Let them not complain. Let them swallow. This is not a gender discussion. But I'm just trying to say we are humans. Whatever pains the woman, it pains the man. Slap a man and slap a woman is the same pain. There's no gender meaning to the slap. Pain is pain. So when you feel pain, what you do is you cry for help. First and foremost, you have God who is always with you and the Holy Spirit who he has given to comfort and help you. So the first person you can cry to is to God. However, as human beings, there is something with connectivity, what God has given to us, that we need to connect with one another. And in that safe place, which is what I'm emphasizing again, you can get help. For even in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. So don't feel you'll be condemned. Don't feel, no. That's why we are here. That's why God has given us to you. So ensure you look for your safe space and you speak up at all times. Don't hold it back. And guess what? We're not the first. Can you imagine Dave talking about him and cocaine? Can you imagine? This wonderful man. Do you want us to tell us? Should I tell you my own secret? We did things. Yes, we smoked Igbo. We used it to cook beans. People passed out. Yeah, we did all that. So there's someone, is it pornography? We were song. Okay, Ocholi, I'm marking Ocholi's card with what I'm saying. We watched pornography. We almost lost our minds.
You are marking attendance in a school that many of us attended.
Marking attendance. Wow.
Yeah, this is just to say, guys, you are not alone. See, we are not saints from heaven. We are men that God has helped. And that's why we're extending the help to you. So speak out. We understand what you're going through, and we want to help you go through it.
Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
In fact, these boys are so blessed.
I'm telling you.
Thank you so much for giving you. You are giving you. This is beyond what you have. This is you. And we are so grateful. I want to say to you, boys, accept the gifts. Now God has given. It's now your responsibility to accept it. You are not alone. Yes. I really picked that. All right. Thank you so much, your usual TJ. So much. Thank you for being unusual.
Always unusual. So our boys, please go to the chat room and let us know how you're appreciating the speakers, showing your love and everything, why they give us their final sentence. My Apostle Choli, we have a business. We'll talk about it after the show. Please. Co-founder and co-founder. What is that last sentence you want to say to a boy out there?
In fact, I'll just steal my brother TJ's comment and just throw it as my last comment. Make use of the gift God has given you. He has given you Coach Ebuka. He has given you my brothers here. I mean, just take advantage of this. Don't keep anything that's troubling you. Speak up. I think we're growing up and there was this speak out, speak up.
Speak out.
Speak out for the one to know. Speak out.
Let's speak out.
Let's speak out.
Use the gift God has given you. I wish I had people like this to talk to. There were mistakes we would have never made in life. That's the truth.
Yes.
That's my closing comment.
Yes.
Amazing. And that's how we brought men, for boys to know that, you know, but Holy Spirit, there's no man to talk to. There's no model. There's no model. So we are bringing to say we are men that God has helped. We are coming from a place and we are willing to help you. There are men out there that you can speak to. Boys are saying there are no mentors. There are people when we really search deep. They are gifts. Let's take advantage of them. Apostle David, all the way from Enugu State, is in Abuja for the boys. What is your final sentence to boys out there?
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you, everybody. Sorry for my internet fluctuations, but I've already picked so many things, and I'm blessed by this panel discussion this evening. To the boys out there, I want you to know that you are in a season of your life where you can actually create the tomorrow that you want. Don't waste it. Don't waste your today. You use your today to create the tomorrow that you want. You have all the opportunities in terms of resources available to you at no cost to you. I'm not saying it's free. There's a difference. At no cost to you. Someone else has paid the cost. I don't have permission of Coach Ebuka to tell you what he has spent, so I won't say it. But then people have spent money to provide these resources for you. Do not waste it. It's an opportunity that if you waste, you will look back and wish you didn't. So take advantage of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Mr. David.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
It is well. Let me not express how I feel. Good, unusual TJ. All the way from Benin to Lagos to Abuja. What are you saying finally to the boys?
Finally, my brethren. You will always find what you seek. So the question I'm asking you is, what are you seeking? If you don't like what you find, change what you seek.
Hola. Oh my God. The boys in this room, they are on fire. They are screaming.
Oh my God.
You always find what you seek.
Oh
so
my
what you
God.
are seeing, if you don't like what you are seeing,
change what you are
seeking. What you are seeking.
Straight to the point.
Straight to the point. Change what you are seeking.
Chicken.
Hey, Jesus.
Please, let's not stop.
In church has closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Actually, don't answer this question though. That thing your principal said, were you part of people shitting that shit?
Oh God.
Were you part of them?
Oh God.
You understand? No, don't answer me. It's our inner circles. Don't answer. You were not part of them, actually. If you don't like what you see, then change what you see.
Yes. Wow.
I just closed it. We didn't say anything. We will see to discuss that business. We must make trillions, billions. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ocholi. Thank you, Mr. David. Thank you, Unusual TJ.
Yes.
We love you. We love you. On behalf of the boys, we love you. On behalf of the parents, we love you. All right.
On behalf of the women,
we love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.
We can't wait. Thank you. Guys, make sure you come out tomorrow.
9:30 a.m. We're starting with a workshop. Make sure you're there.
Make sure you're
in
there.
the Sports Hall National Stadium. If you are not in Abuja, please join us virtually, and we're going to have a great time together. Yeah. All right? Please share with your friends, everyone. Make sure you connect virtually. We'll be streaming from the beginning to the end. And join and be a part of. Tomorrow is your day, okay?
Yes.
We're going to have fun. I see
you have fun.
Coming. All right. Thank
Don't
you.
worry, you eat.
You
I
eat.
know
Prepare
that
your
part.
food
I
after
know
the
that
conference.
part.
Be eating you.
You
If you are
eat.
not with us.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everybody. Thank you for
Thank you.
staying with us.
Thank you.
I am sure you have picked a thing or two.
All right.
Make use of the weapons we have given you.
Oh, yes.
Make use of all the instruments we have given
All
you.
right.
And you will be a success in life. Thank you so much,
Let's
guys.
share our love in the comment section.
Let's
We
see
love
your
you
love
all. Let me see
emoji.
your
We love
fire.
you. Thank you.
We
Show us
love
some
you
fire.
all. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Adenike. We see you. Thank you.
Joy Emmanuel,
Thank you. Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you,
We love
everybody.
you. We love you.
Thank
We
you,
love
Caleb.
We
Thank
love
you, everyone, for staying through.
All right. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
And
See you
tomorrow is
tomorrow.
9:30 a.m.
Okay.
Indoor Sports or
National Stadium.
Somebody's
9:30
asking.
a.m. West African time.
Abuja. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
And the skills that every boy must learn. The skill to win. The skill of content.